Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Hillbilly Files. My name is Leo, and I will be your host today on a whirlwind tour through a very interesting, old, historic town with all kinds of little intrigue and mystery and all kinds of really cool stories. Yeah, I guess some of y'all locals probably recognize this place as being the Boone County Courthouse with its big domed clock tower on the top. Anyhow, we'll look around here just in a second. I want to sit down and share some stuff with you guys real quick. And we have got a show and a half for you guys today. I guarantee. Promise. Now, as some of y'all know, southern West Virginia, you know, coal industry, all this kind of stuff, right? But before the coal trains and the paved roads, the land that we now call Madison, West Virginia, was once home to native people, most notably the Shawnee, Cherokee, and Mingo tribes. They hunted these ancient forests and followed the river paths long before settlers arrived. But by the late 1700s, they were pushed westward, and what was once tribal hunting grounds gave way to farmland and then coal fields. Madison, the town of Madison, was first established as Boone Courthouse. That was the name. The town was renamed Madison around 1865, presumably for William Madison Peyton, a pioneer coal operator who played a key role in the formation of Boone County, and for whom the town of Peytona in Big Coal River was also named. There's actually a sign indicating that it was William, but you know how that goes, right? Don't shoot the messenger. Some folks still believe the town was named for President James Madison, and local opinion is still just a little bit divided on that one. Either way, Madison was officially incorporated in 1906. The very first courthouse here at Madison was a log building and was burned by Union soldiers early in the Civil War. According to local historian Brandon Ray Kirk, it's on the other end of town, down that way, so we're going to be swinging by there too. Now, that incident was part of what's known as the Battle of Boone Courthouse in 1861, when Union troops charged across the Little Coal River and dislodged Confederate forces from their positions here at Boone Courthouse, which was guarded by Confederate soldiers under Colonel Ezekiel Miller. Now, Miller commanded about 250 men from the 187th and 129th regiments of the Virginia militia, and what was called the Black Striped Company, which was an irregular Confederate unit from just up the road here a little ways in Chapmanville. They faced off with Lieutenant Colonel David Enyart, Enyart, his 750 Union regulars with their artillery placed in a commanding position on nearby Nob Hill. The second courthouse was built from brick. After that, a simple frame building was used by county officials for several years, until this courthouse right here was completed and opened in 1921. This building, with its domed clock tower and stone columns, still stands here in downtown Madison. It's listed on the National Register of Historic Places, and it remains the seat of government power to this day. Locals still gather on these steps during parades, protests, and town events, just like they have for over a century. Just a short drive away from the courthouse here once stood the Pack family plantation, a well-known landmark from pre-Civil War history. It was owned by a man named Augustus Pack. The plantation sat near what is now Sylvester, West Virginia, not far from here. The Pack family were major landholders and staunch Confederates. Augustus Pack himself was, sorry, side-by-side's going by. We're still in southern West Virginia, side-by-sides. Augustus Pack himself was actually Boone County's second largest individual slaveholder. His plantation enslaved African Americans who worked the land and maintained the property, forced to live under harsh conditions and bondage here in the Coal River Valley. During the Civil War, the Pack plantation became a critical target for Union forces. In early September of 1861, Union troops raided and plundered the Pack family property, seizing goods, livestock, wagons, and whatever else they found. The raid was part of a broader Union push into Boone County that resulted in the burning of the courthouse and the fight known as the Battle of Boone Courthouse. The attack on the Packs, one of the region's most powerful families, was also very symbolic. It struck a blow at the economic backbone of the Confederate county. Though the plantation buildings are long gone now, the raid on the Pack plantation and the burning of the county courthouse were both connected events in the Union's overall plan to destabilize Confederate control over the Coal River Valley. Like many plantations of the time, it was built on the labor of enslaved people whose names weren't recorded and whose stories were nearly erased from history. Now, common sense would say that not everyone made it to the end of the war to see their families finally be freed. Madison is known as the gateway to the coal fields, sitting right along a main route into southern West Virginia coal mining country. Now, fast forward to the 20th century, and Madison had become a boom town, deeply tied to the coal seams that ran beneath these hills. But with big coal came big money, powerful people, corruption, and conflict. In 1921, thousands of armed coal miners gathered here at the Madison Town Ball Field, which sat along Riverside Drive by the Coal River. It soon became a staging ground for something far bigger than anyone expected. Miners came from all across the region, some by train and others on foot, all of them carrying rifles and wearing red bandanas, which is where the term redneck comes from. They camped in the field, shared food and news of the day while they prepared to march for labor rights. It was much more than a protest. It was a true uprising of common people from all walks of life. From there, they headed south toward Logan County, launching what would become as the Battle of Blair Mountain, the largest labor rebellion in U.S. history. it was a pivotal moment that shaped all of Appalachia and far beyond. And it started right here in this quiet little town. But Madison's past isn't just about labor wars and coal mine dust. It's also marked by tragedy. On a warm summer day in 1977, one of the most shocking crimes in Boone County history unfolded right on Main Street. 3 men, Clifford Cottle, Wes Finley Jr., and William Wesley York, entered Hawkins Jewelers, located at 371 Main Street, posing as customers. Once inside, they pulled out their weapons and carried out an armed robbery in broad daylight. But what began as a robbery quickly turned into a kidnapping and a double murder. You see, the 3 men, they forced store owners into a vehicle at gunpoint and fled the state with them as hostages. The couple's bodies were later discovered in a wooded area near Crosby, Tennessee, where they had been shot execution style and simply left behind. The crime stunned the entire community and kicked off a multi-state manhunt for the 3 desperate criminals. All 3 men were eventually arrested, tried, and convicted. William Wesley York and Wes Finley Jr. were sentenced to life in prison. Clifford Cottle, who was believed to be the ringleader, also received a life sentence. None of the men were ever released. Justice, in this case at least, had been served. So when you walk the streets of Madison today, you'll find a town that's peaceful and beautiful and just a little bit haunted. Not by ghosts and ghouls, but by the echoes from its own past. Haunted by its own memories. Today, I will be taking you to some of these very places in person. So settle in, guys, and come along for the ride as we dig into the past of Madison, West Virginia. Now we're going to kind of take a look around. I wanted to sit down, go over some stuff. I, had a couple notes with some dates and things so I wouldn't forget, and kind of bring y'all up to speed as to the who, what, when, where, and we'll get to the how in just a minute. It's over in the car. I have a how. I have a really good how. You'll see why in a minute. But anyhow, we'll check out some of the area around the courthouse and take a look at it. Is that not a beautiful old building? Just look at that big clock tower up top. Beautiful, isn't it? Absolutely gorgeous. Now this, I don't even need to see an inscription. That's a doughboy. This is a World War I memorial. In memoriam to those who served from Boone County. And hang on, there's a historical marker right here, as a matter of fact. Ha, there it is. County seat. Incorporated in 1906 and named for William Madison Peyton, a leader in movement for the formation of Boone County in 1847. Peyton, pioneer in the development of the Coal River Valley, locked and dammed Coal River in the 1840s and made it navigable for steamboats to transport coal from the area to markets, and for a period made the Coal Valley one of the great industrial regions of the state. Now, like I told y'all, this was a Boone town at one time, right? Of course, this is a Saturday now, so kind of you got to give it benefit of the doubt. I picked a day where it wouldn't be too awful busy. It's really early on a Saturday morning. Now this one over here at a distance looks to be a coal miner memorial. Presumably something to do with the Battle of Blair Mountain and what happened here. And coal miner. It says, I am the coal miner of the past, present, and future. I represent all of the coal miners of Boone County. I stand for freedom and safety in my job. I respect my fellow coal miners and the land that God has blessed us with. That is really cool, isn't it? Oh, by the way, when I got here, I was looking around, happened to run into a lady right there. What are the odds? Her name was Maze, and I was just asking a couple questions. She turned out to be the city council. She's on the city council. I met one of the council members, and she was giving me some directions how to get, you know. Anyway, the Boone County Courthouse, designed by architect H. Russ Warren in neoclassical revival style, opened in 1921, replaced the first brick courthouse, which was here. The log one was on up the road. Features Indiana limestone, Beaux Arts classicalism, and small open domed Belvedere Tetra style 2-story porticos with Corinthian columns and Roman keystone arched windows. House records dating back to 1847, formation of Boone County, listed on the National Register in 1981. That is a tongue twister. Features Indiana limestone, Beaux Arts classicalism, and a small open dome Belvedere Tetra style 2-story porticos with all right, I'll quit. I quit being stupid. Nah, I probably won't. I think y'all know better than that, don't you? All right, let's take a look at the old courthouse and just look around. And like I said, this is only one of 7 sites that I intend to try and hit today. This is just one. Look at the size of those. It's really pretty the way it's laid out though, isn't it? And you got to imagine too, you know, 1921, a lot of these other buildings wouldn't have been here. I'm guessing that one probably was. Maybe not. That's an annex building for the courthouse, isn't it? Look at this. The back of the thing is actually pretty. That is beautiful, isn't it? Look at that big dome tower up top. That is really pretty. Okay, we'll circle around, go down the other side. And just see what we see. Kind of hard to imagine the place, you know, 300 years ago, you know, 1700s. What this place must have looked like. Hello, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Doing great. Just look at the columns, the detail work, and all that stuff up top. There's a lot of work went into this building in there. Somebody really knew what they were doing. Just look at those columns. That one's been there a while. That is gorgeous. Just look at the size of that thing. Now, right here is the how. This is how. I'm going to cover all of these spots in one day while I'm here. Now, I already know what you guys are thinking. And no, my bike did not just get ran over by a train or a coal truck. It's a folding e-bike. This will fold up. I can just throw this in the seat and take off. Now, we recently got an email from a company called, now presumably it's SizzleBK, all right? So I'm calling it the SizzleBike. I don't know if that's the name of it or not, but that's what we call it, the SizzleBike. I like the name. It sounds kind of cool. It does kind of sizzle a little bit, actually. When you get it going, it sizzles a little bit. But anyway, I will be using this little puppy. Once I unfold it, you just, you know, swing it around and latches right there, piece of cake. But anyway, they sent this to us. This company, SizzleBike, sent us this to do a little review on it on our channel, and, you know, show it to you guys and tell you what we think, you know, be honest about it and tell you what we think about the thing. Well, I've got about 4 miles on it, I think, so far. I took it out just for a little test ride right after I put it together. I took it out for a little test ride, and I absolutely loved the thing. I mean, it plenty power, smooth as glass ride, and big tires. I mean, and suspension too, but I mean, it rides smooth as butter. I mean, across gravel, grass, or especially asphalt. Asphalt's easy, but you know what I mean. I mean, this thing, it's done really, really well. But the S200 from SizzleBike will get its test today. Now, this thing, top speed on it, ballpark 20-ish. Not super fast. That's not what you're after anyway, right? You're not really after, you know, that's a totally different animal. What we're after is cruise around, enjoy it, find the places, get them on video for you guys. That's the goal here. Perfect tool to do just that. Alright, let's get this little puppy unfolded and get my backpack situated, and we'll get ready to head out. Alright, I just sat the camera on the ground for now. Good enough for this. Just good enough to show y'all. Anyway, all you do we're ready to go for a ride. Simple as that. How easy was that? You just swing it out. It looks pretty cool too. I think it looks really good, and like I said, it rides super comfortable, and you can pedal if you want to, but you don't have to. It's a SizzleBike. SizzleBK, if you want to look it up. We'll have a link for you guys, you know, obviously, and you know, all this good stuff. But the SizzleBike S200 is what we're playing with today. Alright, let me get my camera. I got the only thing I've added so far. I'm going to put saddlebags on and all that. You know me. I'm going to hillbilly it out. You know I am. So far, the only thing I've added was just a GoPro mount right here. That's the only thing I've added so far. Everything else comes factory, you know, power. You can change settings and headlights and, you know, all this kind of stuff. Very, very nice. Very nice little toy. So thank you guys very much, SizzleBike. Thank you very much. And from what I've seen of it so far, I absolutely love the little devil so far. Alright, let's get situated. And let's see, who first? Which place first? Okay, we are all loaded up. Got the GoPro on the handlebar mount. And we are ready to go. Looking for is a turnoff up here to the right on Main Street. I think we have to go over this little hill. It says Josephine, that's not it. big one. Turn somewhere right down here. Main Street, this is it. You found it. Now, get over on the other side. Now we'll just, what we're looking for, I don't know if y'all remember this from the story, 371 Main Street. We should be coming up on it pretty soon. This is it, guys. Right here. 371 Main Street. This is the scene of Hawkins Jewelry. The site of the old Hawkins Jewelry. Looks like we're doing some remodeling in there right now. Where the three guys came in at, I mean, this is right on Main Street. You can see right here, it's right on Madison's Main Street. But I mean, can you just imagine that? You know, you're working, right? You're in your little business and you're working, right? You're minding your own business, doing your own thing, trying to make a living, right? Three armed men come in, rob the place, take you as a hostage and your wife or your husband, depending, take you guys as hostages, and they head off for Tennessee. And then you turn up later in a wooded area outside of town somewhere. That's exactly what happened right here in this very spot. That is exactly what happened. I mean, you can just kind of picture it in your head, you know. You got your little getaway vehicle out here, and you've got these plans. You're going to steal all this jewelry. You're going to be rich. You wind up in prison till the day you die. Like I said, at least in this one case, justice did get served. All three men paid for what they did with their lives. Next spot, y'all see Long John Silver's, right? Just a regular fish place, a little mini mall. There's a post office, a clinic, a Dollar Tree, a Goodwill, a couple other little places here. You'd probably drive right by this place and wouldn't even think twice about it unless you needed to stop for something, would you? Well, guess what? This is a historic site, believe it or not. And get right back here and I'll show you something. I actually show you two somethings from right here. First is right there. Okay, the bike, and you know, the bike's really cool too, so you know, we'll just, you know, but anyway, this, believe it or not, this quiet little unassuming parking lot was the site of the original Boone Courthouse that was attacked and burned by Union soldiers. The burning of Boone Courthouse, with Confederate militia organizing in Boone County Union troops were sent on a raid from Charleston in August of 1861. The two sides met on the 31st, and on September 1st, Union forces defeated the Confederates under Ezekiel Miller at the county seat. After the fight, Union troops burned the town, destroying the log courthouse, which was not replaced by a new brick building until 1865. Now, right here, like I said, is where the old courthouse stood. I just want to ride down. We got to ride about 60, 70 feet to show y'all something. Oh, peeled out. Sweet. Wasn't even trying. Now, you see this little spot right here? Started off back there. Over there on the other side of that little shed is where that sign is. Now right here, it's the Coal River. This, like I said, is where the courthouse was. You see that high knoll right over there? It was called Knob Hill. That is where the Union forces were. The Confederate forces saw basically the same view that I'm looking at right now, except for the bridge and the houses and all the modern stuff. Just erase all of the modern stuff and leave only the river and the mountains and the trees, and that's what would have been here. But the point is, you see, you've got Union artillery, Union soldiers, like twice as many. You're outnumbered a little bit better than 2 to 1, almost 3 to 1. We're in a hurry. You're outnumbered almost 3 to 1, and they have artillery, and they're in a commanding position right above you. They can lob cannons at you, they can fire their artillery, they can fire their guns. If you fire your guns, you're most likely just going to hit the hillside in front of them or fire over top of their heads, right? Seems to me, you know, just logistically speaking, militaristically speaking, I'm guessing these guys weren't really expecting an attack. Or, quite frankly, I highly doubt they would have stayed here in the lowland, would you? I mean, if you know you're expecting an attack, you would probably try to take the high ground yourself so that you could command it. But the Union had the upper hand here. And like I said, the Confederates here, they were actually in a bad, really, really bad spot. And where the courthouse sat, like I said, you're in direct line of artillery fire. But, you know, just to me, it just kind of boggles the mind that, you know, Confederate soldiers, right, literally stood where I'm standing in the exact same footprints, no doubt. Someone did. And glanced over this way, looking up toward that hill where they knew the Union soldiers were encamped. Now, you're looking up there and you know they got that artillery. I bet that was a spooky moment right there now. I bet it was. It's amazing, though, the history, the amazing stories that you can find right in your own little backyard. You know, this is like I said, a quiet little, you know, it's a shut down Long John Silver's. It's not even an operating Long John Silver's, you know. And the site carries considerable historic significance. The whole town does, you know. The Battle of Blair Mountain and the Battle of, you know, Boone Courthouse, you know. The Blair Mountain guys, they met here. We'll be heading there in just in a minute. Heading over that way too. But anyway, I just wanted to come down here and show you guys this spot. And we'll head up there too. I don't think you'll be able to see much right now for the trees, but we'll go look anyway. We'll go and check out the Union position as well. Of course, you know, like I said, I don't know how well you could see for the trees. I can't see the hill from here, so I'm assuming you can't see here from the hill either, you know. But either way, I guess if you got artillery, you don't need to see. You just fire over the trees and let it land where it lands. Right? All right, let's head out to the next spot. Now, this little spot right here also has considerable significance. Now, I am right in between. The old courthouse is right on the other side of that bridge. You can't see it, but the Long John Silver's is right there. The position where the Union troops were up there. This spot right here, right across the street, right across the tracks, I should say. This one has a special significance all its own too. I stopped in here. I'll tell you why just in a second. But I stopped in here and run into, there's a gentleman sitting here, you know, just hanging out in the shade and, you know, watching the birds. 70, he said he's 71. And we've been talking for about 20 minutes. That's only like the second person that I've ran into that's out roaming around, everybody else in vehicles. And, you know, I'll stop and, hey, are you a local? You know, ask questions, right? Get to know the town, you know what I mean? But anyhow, the guy's name is Roger. And he is the nephew of a Tuskegee airman. Now imagine that, to run in to someone, you know, well, descendant, relative. Started to say descendant, but I guess nephew's a relative, not a descendant. A relative of the original Tuskegee airman. And they just sitting there and just walk up to him and, you know, strike up a conversation, and you know what I mean? It's just, it's wild. But anyway, this spot right here. Now, I was thinking that it was, see, there's two ball fields here in Madison. This is one of them, you know, you can see the ball field right there. There's another one that's up toward the Danville end. It's, you know, there's like two towns that are literally that far apart, just about, you know, Danville, Madison, right beside of it. But anyway, during the Battle of Blair Mountain, I mentioned how the Union, how all of the rednecks, how coal miners from all over the region got here on trains or walked if they had to, or whatever it took to get here to this spot. This was the staging ground, yeah, for the Battle of Blair Mountain. Now, like I said, I thought it was on the other end of town down at the school, but that's more toward the Danville side. And we sent an email last night, you know, just kind of, you know, poking around a little bit last minute to see which field it was. And Heather sent an email, and we found out, you know, just all I need to know is if it's the one up by the school toward Danville, or the one down by Goodwill, right across the bridge over here. It's the one down by Goodwill. Okay, that's all I need to know. This is the spot. This was the staging ground for thousands and thousands of coal miners, all armed and all wearing red bandanas so that they could differentiate themselves. Before the labor movement, if your boss said your wife was hot and you told him to stay away from her, he could fire you for that, right? He could fire you for any little thing that popped into his head. He could pay you with mind script, right? You know, that you didn't know about till till payday. You found out on payday you're not getting real money, you're getting mind script, right? That's where all of those protections came from. All of those things that we take for granted in today's modern world, in our professional lives, you know what I'm saying, right? All of those protections, they come from these events, from the labor movement. And, you know, you just kind of imagine thousands and thousands of armed coal miners right here, right? They've all got the red bandanas on, and they're all mad as hell. All right, so I guess I'm going to head out here in a second and head up on the hill up there and go see if I can't find the Union position. Well, look at what I found. There is no historical marker here of any kind. Now, like I said, according to local historian Brandon Ray Kirk, this is the spot on this knoll where the Union troops set up at. Right in here somewhere. Now, the Confederate position that I showed you guys earlier would be right down in there. So this would be a really good spot to, you know, real good spot. All the houses, look at that. I bet none of them, well, I bet few of them know of the significance of this spot right here. Looks like the city's water tank is up here. And a few little barking dogs that don't care for my bike very much. There's a few of those too. You would think you could just zip by them, but they're dogs. They're really good at spotting stuff. See what I mean? There's one right there eyeballing me there. But this would be the spot, guys. All right, let's get on out of here. We've got one more stop. I got to go back down into town and head down into Main Street. See y'all down there. Hello, little doggy. I know. Alright, bye-bye, puppy dog. Now, if I can find my way back down here without getting lost, we got it made. Brakes make a weird sound. I kind of like it. Okay. Madison Avenue. Sounds like Gather at the River, but I don't think it is. Very pretty, isn't it? Okay, I know where I'm at now. Yeah, for a second there I didn't. This right here is the Madison Civic Center. Right here. And the City Police Department and VFW right next door. Sound the brakes make. coming back by Hawkins Jewelers right there. Where we're going is right down here. Like somebody else is going there too. Oh, they're closed. They are closed. Well, this is where I was going to take y'all for the last stop. This is the Coal Heritage Museum. Oh, closed due to illness. Well, I guess that's understandable. Closed due to illness. Let's take a peek though. Hello. Just to see. If we can see anything inside the museum. Like they got a coal loader. Got a few things in there, don't they? The Boone County Company Store. Excuse me. Coal Heritage Museum. Oh well. I took you to them all anyway. I just couldn't get in the last one, unfortunately. But oh well. It's been a really great day, isn't it? Flowers on Main. I like that. Alright. It's been a really good day. But I do believe it is just about time to head back over toward the car. Starting to get a little bit later in the day and starting to get just a little bit warm. Supposed to be in the 90s today, so yeah, we'll not push our luck. But yeah, doing great. Running all over the place, no problem. Well, looky here. I found something cool. A little bridge down here by the fire department. You know I'm going to have to go across this just to see what it is. I don't really have a choice. I have to do it. Bumpy. Coal River. Kind of pretty, isn't it? Well, what you can see for the rails. Oh, I'd like to camp right there on that little sandbar. I want to camp there. See some fish down there too. Oh yeah. Oh my Lord. I see some nice bass down there. A bunch of, oh my God, look at that. There's two monsters laying right there. Three of them. I don't know if y'all can see it. There's two right there and another great big one right beside of them. There's one. Look at that. They're everywhere. You can see them moving a little bit right there. Wow. We may have to come back and fish just because, you know, just because. Memorial. Veterans Memorial. Air Force, Navy, Marines. Look at that one. Dedicated to mothers of all veterans. That's pretty cool. They tend to get left out, I do believe. Says, I am a caring mother. My child has gone to war. My mind is filled with worries that I will never know. That I have never known before. Huh. No doubt. No doubt. Alright, camera, cooperate. All right, I guess it's about time to start heading back toward the car, I suppose. Back across the little bridge. I love stuff like this. Well, there's the Boone County. I was looking for that earlier. I was looking for the development center. There it is right there. What are the odds? Just right up on it. And we are back where we started at. Well, I have made it back to the courthouse, none the worse for wear. Car's sitting right across the road waiting on me. And the SizzleBK is still doing good. It did really good, just in case anybody is curious, by the way. They have about a ballpark, we'll say 50-mile range. Speed is around 20 miles an hour, not real crazy fast, but you know, that's not what you're trying to do anyway. They actually have a really nice mountain bike too that has dual hub motors that I would just love to get out on the Hatfield-McCoy trail system and, you know, just kind of turn it loose a little bit. But that's okay. We'll cross that bridge later. But anyway, the thing did really well. I guess I probably should touch base on a couple of the specs. Like I said, it'll do about 50 miles. Do about 20 miles an hour. Folds up really easily. Just one little latch and fold him away. Throw it in your trunk or seat or wherever you want to go and take off. Simple as that. You get where you're going, you just unfold it and latch it back into place and you're done. You're ready to go riding. And you don't get much simpler than that. You know, I've always heard if you're going to sell something, you know, don't preach features, preach benefits. Right? You just jump on it and push a button. That's a pretty big benefit right there. You don't got to pedal if you don't want to. That's a pretty big benefit right there. You don't have to pedal this one. If you want to, you just jump on and push the button. It'll take right off. You can set it, you know, for like full throttle. I've got it for full throttle on 5. That pedal assist, you know, you can just set it if you want to, you know, ride it like a bike or have it assist with the pedaling, either way. But really nice, and they're very affordable too, you know. They're very reasonably priced. I did like that about it, you know. They're not outrageous. But anyway, all right guys, like I said, we are back at the courthouse, and I have been running all over the town of Madison now for several hours. You know, just running around, checking out this place, that place, getting video of everything, talking to people. I've hounded the crap out of everybody I've ran into today, which was only a handful. In Boone County, in World War I, 17 to 18. Wow, look at all those names just from World War I. Wow. Goes all the way down too. That is just from World War I. Wow. I do believe Madison has done its part, y'all. It's a beautiful old town though. Looking for a really cool place to come and visit. Madison, West Virginia is right here waiting on you. It's got all kinds of really cool history, all kinds of really amazing stories, and all kinds of really cool people. I'll give them that. You can't take that away from the town at all. They've got some really cool people. But anyway guys, I guess as much fun as today's been, you know, out running around showing you guys around on the little SizzleBK. We very much appreciate you guys for, you know, for watching all of our viewers, all of our page members, Patreon supporters, viewers. We appreciate you guys very much, and thank you for all the support, for all the shares, and you know, trying to help our little YouTube page grow. You know, as you know, YouTube is a strange little animal. You have to it's either grow or die, and thanks to you guys, it's been the grow option so far, thanks to y'all. So thank you for all the shares and all the support and all the words of encouragement to, you know, keep looking for all of these old historic places and telling you guys all these old stories. Until next time, though, I guess, until next time, from the steps of the Boone County Courthouse, this is Leo with the Hillbilly Files, and we will see you guys next time. Leo out.